we would like to welcome our new sponsor, Nine Lines Wagyu.
Indulge in this exquisite taste of Wagyu beef while embracing its potential health benefits. Renowned for its exceptional marbling, this premium beef boasts a higher concentration of monosaturated fats, including the heart-healthy oleic acid.
Its elevated levels of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids offer a delicious way to potentially support heart health. Savor the unparalleled richness of Wagyu beef, a culinary delight that may align with your wellness goals. Military and first responders get 20% off.
Visit this veteran-owned business at ninelinewagyu.com.
That's ninelinewagyu.com.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Everyday Heroes with Cliff and Mike. Today they're talking with Jimmy LaPalme, who is a chemical thread scientist. So sit back and relax while we put on our big brain caps and learn about analytical chemistry, how they do testing, and how this information assists the public if an incident occurs. As always, if you like this episode, please like and subscribe. Let's get the show started.
The views and opinions of this podcast are solely based off the hosts and guests and are not associated with any agency, corporation, or LLC. Enjoy the show. I feel a beat coming on. Hit it, boys!
I did that again.
Check it out now. Mike and Cliff taking the crown. Podcast kings ain't backing down. Bring the breeze, we run this town.
Mike with the wisdom got the facts. Cliff with the chill. Vibe got the tracks. Together they spark. Thoughts on wax.
What's going on, buddy?
What's up, bud?
It's been a hot minute.
I know, man. We needed to take a break. I had to take a vacation.
Yeah, well, there was just so much that we had to go through. There was so much content that we had to just kind of, it was consuming our lives.
It was.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Every weekend. I was telling people it turns into like a third.
Oh, it's a job, man.
Yeah, it's a job. And everybody's like, I know we talked about it before, but it's like, man, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, do you understand the amount of work that goes into doing this?
And it's not only the podcast, it's like the editing, and then you need to put content. So the content never really ends.
Mm-mm.
What about the followers? You see that?
Yeah, we hit 8. I think the last time we said something, I think we were at 4,000.
Yeah.
And then we had Kodai from Fort Bama Shore come on, and which was still, thank you. That was a great, fun night. And now I looked this morning, we just crested 8,000.
I know, man. I'm
on
excited.
Our way. Yeah, on our way. Hey, big thank you to our new sponsor, Nine Line Wagyu, man. I am excited to have these guys on. I know veteran-owned business, I actually deployed with this guy. And I just got a big box of Wagyu beef at the house. So it is, but I'll tell you my biggest thing is he's a really big proponent of tallow, cooking in tallow. So if you don't know what tallow is, if you talk to him, seed oils are bad. And I think even RFK was talking about how like they're trying to get schools that cook away from seed oils and start to cook back into tallow because it's so good for you. And the Wagyu tallow has more of these healthy fatty acids in like salmon and chicken and at a much smaller concentration. So everything I cook now is in that tallow. So we're happy to have you on board as a sponsor, and your stuff rocks, man.
No, I can't wait to try it, man.
It's good. Yeah, I got a can of tallow for you so you can start cooking. It's in the deep freezer. I'll bring it over the next time. But anyways, we've got a great show today.
I know. I'm excited. You know why I'm excited? Guess why I'm so excited? Because me and this guy share a birthday.
That's right. Your birthday twinsies.
That's right. December 16th.
Yeah. So on the podcast today, we have Jimmy LaPalme. Say hi to everybody, Jimmy.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I love Jimmy.
Yeah.
Love me some Jimmy.
I've known Jimmy for, about 5 years now. I've known him for a long time. He's a good guy. Brilliant guy. We're going to go on a lot of what he does. When I used to work with him, I tell everybody I was like literally like working with the Big Bang Theory. Like you were always literally the dumbest person in the room when you were talking about these guys, particularly in terms of their expertise, right?
Oh, yeah. Nerd alert.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, before we get into all that, though, so are you South Carolina legit?
Well, I've been here for almost 40 years. My dad was in the Air Force, so I was an Air Force brat. We moved around a lot. So I was actually born in upstate New York, moved to the Midwest when I was a kid, lived in Nebraska for about 5 or 6 years, and moved to Guam, and then moved here when I was about 11, and I'm 49 now.
Oh, yeah. So
were you always like nerdy?
I was always a nerd. My high school friends, they went out and partied and did all kinds of fun stuff. And then, when we get together, they reminisce. And I'm like, man, where was I? And they're just like, dude, you were hanging out in your bedroom reading your Encyclopedia Britannicas, So I was always a nerd, always had that reputation.
When
but
did
I'm
the
good with it.
Encyclopedia Britannica have like the trifold that opened up?
Yeah. That's when you kept yours too. I feel you, buddy. Me too. I used to have a copy of. I don't know where we got them because we were dirt poor. Somehow I ended up with. It wasn't all the copies, but I used to read those too.
Mm-hmm.
You used to read those?
I like the demographics.
Hey, did you ever get the National Geographics and look at the naked pygmies? Yes? Yes?
No.
I never did that.
I feel like I'm being judged here, man.
Hey, man, to each their own. To each their own.
Jimmy, do I look bigger than last time? I've gained a little weight, even though I'm supposed to lose some weight.
You look a little bigger, but you're still handsome.
Well, thank you, Jimmy, because I was at the gym and I, one of my New Year's resolutions was to lose weight. So we were at the gym and I asked this girl out. She turned me down.
Was I there?
No, you weren't.
Oh.
I'm lying. I don't ask no girl out.
So in high school, when you were starting to come into your own, like usually, we all have kids right now that are kind of in that zone of like, they're trying to figure out what's the next step for them. Was it obvious for you, like, this is what I'm going to start doing, or did you just kind of fall into it?
I had no idea what I was going to do. In high school, I was just a book nerd and I had no clue. I had a lot of ideas. I knew I wasn't going to join the military. Well, I didn't know 100%, but I had an idea that I wouldn't. Love my military people, love the veterans, but my dad was in it and we moved around a lot and I knew I didn't want to do that. So, I was definitely, I had my sights on college, but I didn't know what I was going to do. I went into college, undecided major. And then I changed my major from undecided to anthropology and got talked out of that and then went into biology.
So what made you pick your field of biology? So, because a lot of biology majors go into medical fields.
So, that's a good question. I have a strong interest in plant science and botany. And so I was drawn to that. I really was interested in plant communication and how they use chemicals to communicate with each other. Real nerd stuff.
That is some real nerd.
But I did for a split second think about applying to go to pharmacy school, but that just didn't pan out. So I just stuck with biology and
good.
Yeah.
So what? So you said it. So how do plants communicate?
Well, they emit chemicals and they're able to sense those chemicals and, through that, they're able to communicate.
I do that every time I walk in the club. I call that my machismo.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I'm letting my chemicals do my talking.
Yeah. Well, I bought some of that pheromone spray, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get women off of my pheromone.
Yeah, it's the same thing, except plants can make their own pheromones and, they don't need to use store-bought.
Is it true? Like I saw a clip the other day of some lady that was like, do you know why you can smell the grass when it's cut? 'Cause it's crying.
Well, I don't think that's true, but that sounds great.
Now, are you that into it? Are you like?
So I've been out of school for 25 plus years, so I'm not really into it anymore. I mean, I find the subject still fascinating, but it's not something I keep up with.
Okay, so that's not really your
and a lot of that information I've lost.
Yeah,
over the years.
Was there a transition from like as you were trying to figure yourself out going into college, like the guy that was at home reading books? Are we starting to venture out more and see what's happening?
Nah, I'm gonna tell on myself. Yes, I was a nerd in high school, but then I got to college and it was a whole new world. I didn't. I don't know how I didn't adjust very well. So, I started dating, I got a girlfriend, didn't care about classes. So I didn't do well in school my first few years. So.
Oh, in college?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. I started, going out and partying, putting more focus on that than my studies.
Oh, he was on the hunt.
I think when you turn into yourself so much when you're younger, like in high school, you were so into yourself. I think once you're like, holy shit, look at the world. Like this is it. Like I think everybody does that to a certain extent.
Oh, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
When I joined I was 18 and next thing I know I was in Hawaii by myself. I lost my mind.
I'm like that when I go to eat. Like if I go to like I went to Gordon Ramsay's last week, right? And it's like 3-course and I'm like, small.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
Jimmy just
hey man, I'm a big guy too. I love to eat too. So
Yeah.
I feel you. And we share the same birthday. So
yeah, that's
we're
true.
alike.
Jimmy is younger though. Jimmy is a year younger.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. College was tough. I didn't have that structure. So I had to figure it all out myself.
Yeah.
So at what point did like chemistry start analytical you're not really chemistry is just like it's subject and then you kind of specialize into that, right?
Right.
So how did you start transitioning over from biology to
I actually fell into it. So I graduated from college with a degree in biology and my first mission was to find a job, make some money. So I found a job. I worked a bunch of odd jobs here and there. Then I finally got a job in the field of chemistry. Didn't think anything of it. Wasn't making much money. When I first started, I think I was making about $23,000 a year. So chump change, if you will, enough to allow me to keep going out and having fun. But I quickly grew an interest in it. And, I've been doing it for 21 years now.
Mm-hmm.
All in South Carolina? Or?
All in South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Mm. So when did it? So we fall into this chemistry thing, and you get this new job. So like, did the degree prepare you? Because I know a lot of people might think like, when I think of a chemist, I think of beakers and a guy mixing chemicals and stuff like that. Which that's not it at all. There's a lot of prep work, and you have to learn. Like it's almost like a mechanic being specialized at a certain automobile. Like they got to know the ins and outs and how it's finicky and stuff like that. So like when you first came in, you had the basic rudimentary package. Like, So how was it when you started working on it? Were you like, oh God, this is a lot more than I thought.
So it kind of like you said, when you have an idea of what chemistry is about, based on what you see in cartoons and TV and growing up, is the image of people playing around with beakers and flasks and things, different colored chemicals boiling away on Bunsen burners and stuff. And, there's a little bit of that. There's, that wet chemistry is a big component to chemistry, but going, like Cliff said earlier, there's subspecialties within chemistry. And, I fell into the analytical chemistry portion that dealt a lot with mass spectrometry.
Mm-hmm. Now, what is that?
So mass spec for short, for mass spectrometry, mass spec for short, it's a analytical technique that can help identify specific compounds or even elements based on their mass. And I mean, when you're thinking in the world of analytical chemistry, and you think instrumentation, there's all sorts of different types of instruments. Mass spec is just one type of instrument.
So like walk us I mean, if you had to explain that process, like start to finish, like what's a common thing that you as a chemist like analyze for?
So in my current job, my staff, they analyze for various things, not only on the molecular level, but also elements. We do a lot of heavy metals testing as well. So that would be elemental analysis. So we do both elemental analysis and molecular analysis, small molecule analysis.
Yeah, that's what I want to get at. Like we're talking like tiny.
Yeah.
You said tiny.
So like when you walk it through, and I know you've explained this to me more than once, and I barely still, like I could probably say enough to make it sound like he talked to somebody one time and he forgot the rest of it. But there's if you like, let's just take, like we can say that you do chemical threats testing, right? So Jimmy and his staff are responsible. Like if there was a dirty bomb or something like that went off, an overt or covert attack went off, and they theorized that maybe a chemical was embedded into that explosive because people are having symptoms, that they would test samples from people to confirm that. So let's just say let's use, like, I don't know, what's a common one? Probably be the most prevalent, like ricin.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's say that you're looking at ricin. Like, walk us through, like, everything, like, how does that work? Because really it's so small, and that's what I need. Like, these machines, which are not small, they're big, and they're looking at the, like, building blocks of life to try to pull that out to say that's what it is.
So once we don't make the determination as to whether or not we should analyze the specimen for any given chemical compound. That determination is made by the medical community, or even, people at the federal level, like at the CDC. So once it's been determined that somebody's been exposed to, or potentially has been exposed to ricin, what happens is they go out and collect a patient specimen, a clinical specimen from them. And in this case, we utilize urine to identify for ricin exposure. Once we get that specimen in, we follow all the protocols that are necessary to ensure that the sample isn't compromised in any way. Then we take a little bit of that sample. We have to prepare it. In other words, we have to clean up the specimen before we run it in the mass spec. And in this case, we use the LC tandem mass spectrometer to analyze for ricin exposure.
What does that stand for? LC.
So LC stands for liquid chromatography. Mass spec. So
what does that mean?
It's like a tree branch.
So liquid chromatography is a technique, an analytical technique that separates out your compound of interest, or your molecule of interest in this case, from other molecules that might interfere with your analysis. And then once it goes through that separation process, once it's run through the LC system, then it goes into the mass spec. And then the mass spec will identify the compound itself, or the mass that you're interested in.
So what do you do when you don't have a bomb? So, I mean, what does your everyday consist of if you don't have a sample?
So one thing that we do, well, first of all, unless there's something horrible that took place, like somebody was exposed to something, whether it's because of an industrial exposure, an industrial spill to a chemical, or a chemical terrorism event, that's the only time we would get a specimen in.
Okay.
So it's actually good that we're not getting, a lot of times we don't get specimens. So it's good. That's a good thing. So we spend a lot of time preparing for just in case we get something takes place.
Right.
So we run a lot of what's called proficiency tests to ensure that the methodology that we have to identify any given compound is working. And it also keeps the chemist abreast to the technique. And then also we do a lot of method development work. So as you can imagine, when you're talking about exposures and patient specimens, you want to be sure that you get results out as quickly as possible. So if we spend a lot of time trying to modify those methods to shorten the run time so we can get results out as quickly as possible. And that, that takes a lot of time to do. It's not something you could just do overnight.
So you're continuously preparing for the worst.
It's all about continuous improvement. Yeah.
Does, like, one method, like you said, does that cover all the things you test for, or is it like how does each one is it like a cookbook for each one where they have to kind of? That's
exactly it. It's like a cookbook for each one. Now, don't get me wrong, there are techniques out there and types of instrumentation that can look for everything, and identify things and compare it to a library, that's a spectral library that's built into your instrument software. But we haven't gone in that direction yet at least for chemical exposures from a chemical terrorism standpoint.
With the advent of AI, I mean, that's going to make your job a lot easier, right? You think?
I don't know how AI would fit into the field of chemistry. I don't know. That's something that's still new. It's on the horizon. I'm sure it's going to play a role at some point in time. I just don't know where it will fit in. I'm hoping to be retired before all of that.
Yeah. You're not that old, though. I mean, you're a young guy.
Yeah.
You're a young, handsome dude. That's a handsome old dude over there.
Thank you.
And he's a year younger than me.
Well, I want to go back to, so let's go back to so you've washed it. So like we're in the cookbook per se for this one, and we've got the prep work done. It's ready to go in the oven. What is that like? How do you guys figure out from that how does that instrument talk to you and say, this is what it is? It either is or is not, or maybe this.
So that's a great question. Back in the day, 3-4 decades ago, scientists had to use these huge books to identify what they believed the chemical was. Nowadays, you have technology and you have excellent software, complex software that does a lot of that work for you. Really, it does all the work for you. So once you analyze your specimen and it identifies said compound, the software is going to identify it for you. Now, as a chemist and you're reviewing that data, you do have to have some discretion to ensure that that information or that data you're looking at is correct. And the way you do that is by having a lot of controls in place, right? Like we do a lot of quantitative analysis, which means, we get an actual value after the analysis is done. And then that's compared against that value you get is compared against the calibration curve that you create with known. We create a calibration curve with certified reference materials that are NIST certified, and we compare our results against that curve, and it gives us a value. It spits out a value for us, and then we make a determination if that value is clinically relevant.
Man, he's kind of like CSI. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could see him. I mean, I could see him going that route.
But I mean, this is a timely this is timely, and it's not quick. Cause like if you watch CSI Las Vegas, it'd be like, can you tell me what type of, compound the tire, and they'll be like,
Right.
It's a Goodyear Wrangler, oh, thank you.
I've been there too. I went to the doctor and said, hey, what is this rash? And it takes time, Jimmy.
It does take time. You want to be sure that the results you're putting out are something that you can stand behind.
What is this discharge?
Right.
You can do a quick analysis, to do like a preliminary screen, to rule out or to give you an idea of what you might be working with. But you really need to have a robust testing procedure in place in order to say 100 or with great confidence that it is what it is.
So there sounds like there's got to be a lot of technical skill, like a lot. So like how long does it take for one person to learn a method?
So it really depends. It depends on experience and education background. If you're coming from grad school or if you have years of experience, you'll pick it up pretty quickly. The wet chemistry portion of it, like all the pipetting and mixing of chemicals and things like that. And what we do, it's not really an entry level position. So I do have this expectation that the people that I hire will have the experience. So that way they can be pretty impactful, right when they begin. But speaking truthfully, because of the amount of chemicals and the various testing methodologies we have in place, it does take someone about a year to learn everything and fully comprehend everything.
And is that just for one, or is that everything that they need to know within?
Everything that they need to know. Yeah. I mean, it's not hard to learn how to follow the procedure, the cookbook, the recipe, if you would.
Yeah.
But, to really understand the chemical structures and how they behave and all of that stuff, it takes some time to do that, to understand all of that. Again, of course, your educational background and experience matters too.
Does so the instruments, like going back, I don't think we quite answered the question other than, you kind of put it in and it spits it out. Like what happens internally there to get to that? Cause I think I've read about it and I think it's a fascinating process because there's so many things that could go wrong looking for the small thing, but that thing does it. And it's the process that the instrument takes it through is incredible. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Sure. And it depends on the instrument you're using. So in our area, we use 4 different instrument platforms, depending on the actual analyte that you're looking for. So, we use what's called inductively coupled plasma mass spec, which is also known as ICP-MS.
Ooh. Coupled.
Yeah.
PMS.
And then we also use, you hear it a lot, especially you reference, NCIS or CSI.
Yeah.
GCMS, which is gas chromatography mass spec. And then again, LC-MSMS, which is liquid chromatography mass spec or triple quadrupole mass spec.
I don't know, but is it getting hot in here all of a sudden? I mean, I know when I have the quadruple, triple pole that, I mean,
So, do you have any graduates from UOP?
Cliff just got his bachelor's degree from,
University of Phoenix, baby. UOP.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Oh no, I'm not ashamed. I'm happy.
But I don't think they do chemistry
Probably.
programs.
Probably not.
that sounds like a job that you really need to know.
Yeah, I had like two choices. I could have done childcare or business management. Two choices.
Yeah.
No, and actually, we do have a fourth instrument. We actually have two other instruments. My apologies. A fourth instrument where we take an HPLC or an LC and we couple it to an ICP-MS, and that allows us to do arsenic speciation because there is one particular chemical that we look for. I don't remember if it was developed during World War I or World War II, but it's known as lewisite.
Yep.
And it's actually an arsenic-based compound, and that particular instrument setup allows us to identify specifically that compound.
But you wouldn't get anything for like let's say there was a murder investigation and my wife killed me with arsenic. Would you get that, or it goes to they have their?
I wouldn't. We don't do any post-mortem specimens.
Okay, I
So
got
that would go to like a coroner or medical toxicology, forensic toxicologist.
you. Did you ever think about doing that?
No, I never thought about any of this. I just fell into it.
Yeah, yeah.
To be honest about it.
But it's like your thing.
Yeah, and so another aspect of the program I oversee is it kind of overlaps with toxicology testing. So we do a lot of overdose biosurveillance work as well, where we identify different drugs in non-fatal overdoses.
Okay.
Oh, that's got to be so. I mean, that's a hot topic right now. If you look anywhere in the news, trying to combat the fentanyl crisis is all over the place.
Yeah.
So let's kind of walk this down a little bit. So what's South Carolina doing? Like I just read the other day, South Carolina, Lexington, which is real close, is recorded the lowest overdose rate in the past 5 years. And I know that there's been a lot of campaigning about the dangers of fentanyl out there. And I know that the state did a really good job about getting Narcan out to everywhere. I think it was 2 years ago. Like if you went to a pharmacist and just picked up your, allergy meds, you were getting Narcan too, whether you wanted to have it in the house. So what's South Carolina doing, and how's your guys' work tying into that?
So South Carolina is doing a lot. I mean, a lot of states are doing a lot of work to combat the opioid crisis. In South Carolina, like you mentioned, there's a big push to get Narcan out and make it available to anyone who might need it. There's a lot of education going on, with pharmacists throughout the state, as well as at the school level to educate kids on how to stay away from opioids. And I think there's been because of those education pushes, I think there's been a shift in the way people are viewing drugs, especially pain medication like fentanyl. So people are more inclined to not want to use it if they can find an alternative. And I know, a lot of doctors are pushing tramadol now, which is an opioid as well, but it's nowhere near as dangerous as fentanyl.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it works though. Like I've used back when I was a flight medic, when I was deployed, they gave us what was called a fentanyl lollipop. And it was like this little thing, and it looked like a Q-tip that you could crush it, and that Q-tip would get wet and it'd have fentanyl. So like you could be shot up, blown up. You stick that in their mouth if they're awake, and in about 2 minutes, they're like, man, let's go.
So what is this? I seen this thing the other day where the kid's laying on the stretcher with a broke leg, and he's like,
That's a fentanyl lollipop.
okay.
All right. I think I saw that one. That might have been tramadol. I think they said that was tramadol.
Was it?
But it's a tramadol lollipop. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you put that in. If people are awake and you're trying to get pain meds, do you just throw it in their mouth because sublingual's really quick to deliver, or do you try to get an IV and push it in? It's like it's so much easier just be like suck on that.
That'd be easier for me. I'm quick, Jimmy. You know how I roll.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm like, do you have penis shaped?
well, I could do much bigger than this. So when you guys get these so I'm assuming that you guys are getting these bio samples, like with all your other samples that you're getting, that these you said is it hospitals that are giving it to you?
So it's hospitals, it's non-fatal overdoses. We have a great program set up where we've partnered up with a bunch of hospitals throughout the state of South Carolina, and they provide us with residual urine specimens from suspected non-fatal overdoses. So we take those specimens, we analyze them. Another instrument platform we use, high-res mass spec. In this case, it's an LC QTOF mass spec. And, we do a qualitative method. We can screen for, right now in our screening panel, we have 55 different drugs that we're specifically looking for. But we can actually look for all kinds of different compounds within that one specimen. And the issue is no longer, people becoming addicted to fentanyl and opioids through over prescription, but it's rather an issue with the drug use community. It's used recreationally now. And unfortunately, they tend to not know their product, because it can be adulterated with fentanyl. They'll go out, they want cocaine, but it's adulterated with fentanyl. But then a lot of users are unfortunately using whatever drug comes their way. So they're combining fentanyl with benzos and cocaine and methamphetamine, and meth is king. Meth is king in South Carolina. We see a lot of meth overdoses in South Carolina. We rarely see somebody just using fentanyl. They have all kinds of different drugs in their system.
Now, is this like a Health and Human Services study where it's like, I'm assuming these samples are all de-identified, like there's no identifying marks, they're just using it for scientific research, so you can't.
So for biosurveillance work, everything's de-identified. We can't tie the sample back to the patient, although we've started collecting some limited demographic information. Because it's important to know the race, gender, age group, so that way for those education programs, they know who to target.
Yeah. That makes sense. Do you remember, I think it was last summer that they had 5 cadets from West Point that were down at Myrtle Beach, and all 5 of them passed out on the beach and they couldn't figure out why. And then they took them back and they all got cocaine and it was laced with fentanyl. They all lived. But I mean, can you imagine going back to school the next week? How was your weekend? Ugh.
Right.
Well,
you can't play around nowadays. Man.
No.
That stuff will kill you.
It will. It'll kill you.
Any ties with marijuana? Because that's probably the most, I lived in Seattle when it went green, and moving here, it was nice because, you didn't smell it. But now, pretty much anywhere you go, and even here, you can smell it.
And while THC is still illegal in South Carolina, you have a lot of these head shops that are selling Delta 8 and some limited Delta 9 product. We don't analyze for any THC or any cannabinoids. So I can't really, I don't really know if that's having any effect on the drug usage scene. But THC, people don't overdose on it. But, it is, a lot of people do believe that it's a gateway drug too. So
are you guys up on Delta 8, Delta 9? I really don't know what that means. I see the signs all the time.
Yeah. So, so THC has multiple, I'm going to do a little chemistry talk.
Let's do it.
So THC has multiple isomers, which basically means that chemically structured, they're the same, but there's a functional group on that structure that's in a different position, but they have the identical mass, weight, and everything. And so Delta 9 is the one that is the THC isomer that is the most potent. That's the most sought after. And Delta 8 is an isomer of Delta 9, but it's kind of considered lightweight compared to Delta 9. So in South Carolina, and I could be wrong about this, but Delta 8 is completely illegal through the Farm Aid bill that passed several years ago. But Delta 9 is legal as long as it's derived from hemp and it's less than 0.3%, I believe, then it can be sold in these head shops.
And they still get and it still provides, even though it's from hemp, that euphoric effect because the structure is close enough to the THC structure.
Right. Yeah. And,
so a chemist figured that out. I'm telling you right now, one of your Pizzos was like, hey, I got an idea.
Yeah, and you won't pop out.
No, but one of the issues is because in South Carolina and federally speaking, THC, Delta 9 THC is illegal. It's not regulated. So you can go to these head shops and buy these gummies or buy, any other sort of products that they sell, vapes, etc. But it's not regulated. So they may say that it's below 0.3% Delta 9 THC, but we don't really know, and that's one of the problems with not having it legalized is you can't then regulate it.
Fan for legalization or not?
I'm a fan for it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's people are doing it anyways. Let's capitalize off of it.
Well, let's capitalize it. And then two, if it's regulated, then we know what's going into
Right.
it.
Make it a safer product.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not on California's end where it's like, let's legalize everything.
Right.
But certain things, it's like, it's a no-brainer. Like,
Yeah, I agree. I don't think everything should be legalized, but I think marijuana should be. I think it's a little ridiculous that it's a Schedule I drug.
yeah. Well, and it seems that South Carolina is really reluctant to, like, they're one of the last states that is holding the line in the sand about we're not letting anybody touch it for any reason, where there's just a ton of peer-reviewed, studies that are done showing the benefits for those with medical, like epilepsy or, pretty much any PTSD. There's direct ties for treatment for PTSD. There's direct ties for treatment for epilepsy. There's direct ties for people with other neurological conditions. And it's just proven over and over again. But South Carolina's like, no, sir.
Yeah, I think at the very least we should legalize medically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, go to the doctor, get your card.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
I agree.
Yeah.
I understand the trepidation with legalizing recreationally. I get it.
Yeah.
But definitely medically, I don't think there should be an issue.
No, yeah. Well, I think Jimmy and we went to a lab up in New York where they have it legalized, and we got to tour like just how their certification process on the products, like they literally have to submit to the state what they're selling so they can test it. And then once that state verifies that you're good to go, then they can release that batch for sale.
So regulated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you just don't know what you're going to get these days. Go
It
ahead.
might be too early to ask this, but well, we can go. I'll ask about the Philippines in a little bit.
Okay. But yeah, do you mind, what's your ethnic background?
So my mom is Thai.
Thai.
And my dad is American from New England.
Oh, I like Thailand. I've been to Thailand.
Yeah, we should all plan a trip for sure.
Is this one of those where we come back and how was your trip? Well, I'm minus a kidney and Cliff is minus a lung, but we're doing great.
Well, interestingly enough, marijuana is legal in Thailand. So
Is it?
Yeah.
When was the last time you've been there?
I went 2 years ago, 2023.
I would like to go there, but I'd probably the girly man would probably grab me.
Would you have a problem with that?
No, I wouldn't tell anybody neither. She'd be like, I'm a girly boy. I got the little dingy ding, and I would be like, don't tell the guys. Don't tell the guys.
There's a guy on he did something. It was like a lady recording this guy's Snapchat. Have you ever seen this? So he was from England. He had a really thick English accent, and he found himself a lady who turned up to be a lady boy. And then, but the great thing was it didn't stop his train.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, hey. And for the rest of the video, once he found out, he called her Jeffrey. He's like, I'm with Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you better not be Jeffrey. And then throughout and everybody's like, and I mean, it gets pretty explicit in the video where everybody's dying. But I was like, come on, Jeffrey.
I could see that would be me. That would definitely be me. Jeffrey.
No, I went there. The food's great. The people are nice. Like we went to, what part of Thailand is your family from?
So my mom is from northeastern Thailand, from a province known as Udon Thani.
Try to say that.
Uno Toini.
That's good.
Uno in Toini.
All right, don't butcher too much. Have you? Do you ever get to Like we got to go to Bangkok. I was really taken back at how the palace was just like dank. Like you could see that anywhere in the city. It's just there. It is like the. I don't know if it's gold plated or what, but the whole roof is gold.
It's beautiful. Bangkok is a walking contradiction. I mean, you've got a lot of history, a lot of traditional architecture. Then you've got these skyscrapers, and it's crazy. I love it. I love the energy.
I always get these TikTok feeds where it's like, come to Thailand to retire because you only need $2,000 to live like a king.
Yeah. There's a lot of expats there. A lot. Expatriates.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, could you imagine going over 2,000? Like they show like this one lady's like, this is what gets you for like $800 a month. And then you're just like,
wow. Yeah.
And then you have couples that are like, this is our budget. We have, and they do it in bot, right? It's bot. They do it in bot. So you have to get on your phone and do the calculation. You're just like, oh, we do 2,000 bot for, nice dinners 4 times a month. And then you do all the adding and it's like, you spent like minus the rent, like $320.
Oh, wow.
It's nice.
Yeah.
That does sound nice.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cheap for us. It's not cheap for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There, when we were over there, we were training with the Thai Army, and their senior enlisted leader made less than a specialist in the U.S. Army.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
What about, do you have plans to retire there or no?
I don't have any plans yet, but I wouldn't mind spending part of my time there and part time here.
We should go on a cruise with Jimmy. We need to all go on a cruise, the boys' crew.
I'm down. Totally down.
Well, you're going to be gone, man. Well, we don't know that yet, but we could look at it. Like, I really would like to go to Thailand. I mean, we talked about it once. I'd like to go back and kind of visit where I was when I visited last time and just kind of, because I was so young. Dude, I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
You went for Cobra Gold?
Cobra Gold.
Yeah, I think that's going on right now.
Yeah. Where I was like, you go to the McDonald's there. It's funny. You go to the McDonald's there and you're like, and they have like traditional McDonald's food, but like the dessert is not an apple pie. It's like a rice pie.
Mm.
It's like these culture specific items.
Yeah, yeah.
Are up on the, and it's the same way, even if you go to Hawaii, like you go to, Burger King and they'll have like a poi sandwich on there.
What about spam?
Oh God, everywhere.
Yeah.
Spam everywhere.
Everywhere. But I loved it because they have like the food was so like every day. Like I went there with $50 for a month and I came back with like $22 and I lived like a king. And they would have these like little cantina huts and you go out there and they would be like, you want some breakfast? And it would be nothing special, but it was like rice and eggs and like a little bit of breakfast. But it was so good. I don't know what they put in it, but you're like, God, this is delicious.
So they eat a lot of rice.
Oh, it's a staple.
I love
Oh, yeah.
carbs.
Rice.
Yeah.
Real rice.
Oh.
Well, I want to know. Like you said your dad was in the military and you moved around. Which branch?
Air Force.
Okay, cool. That's again smart.
Yeah, he's smarter than us.
Yeah. We're Army guys.
Yeah. So we talked about how you got into what you're doing and some of the things, but like, what are the things that you do that, what are your hobbies? Like walk us through now. We know what Jimmy does to get paid. What does Jimmy do to have fun?
As I get older, I find myself doing less and less stuff. But as you know, we enjoy golf, which we need to go out and
Yeah, I agree.
get around going, especially as the weather gets nice.
Yeah. I broke my driver.
Did you?
Yeah, I threw it. It was a brand new Titleist too.
You broke it out of anger.
Well, when you're having those drives, like, we play, and I think we play Captain's Choice too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's like, you're the fourth guy. And it's like, dude, we need you to come through. And you're just hitting bangers all day. And you go up and off you go. And in the second hole, you're like, all right, I'm the anchor guy again. Let me get this ball to where it needs to go. After like the 5th time of just letting the whole crew down, I just hit it. And as soon as I was in my backswing, I knew I was none of my check marks were hit. And I went ahead and let it rip. And I lost that ball and I just kind of like threw it up like that. Next thing I heard snap and it bounced and then half of it landed with the head right in the ground. I'm like, well, I guess it's 3 wood for me the rest of the day. So I got to repair my shaft. I knew that'd get you.
James, if you're listening, you're not the only one. Mike is saying.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I love golf, man. I love it so much. But we got into pickleball. Have you tried?
I haven't played pickleball yet, but it's taken off. It's popular with everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'd like it. I mean, I grew up playing a lot of racquetball.
Oh, it would probably transfer over well.
Yeah. I mean, you could play for 2 years and still suck. Like
us.
Yeah.
As long as you have fun, right? That's all that matters.
We did. Well, in the beginning, I was very I just wanted to win. But then after a while, you realize that a lot of these people, especially with the kicker is these people are like collecting Social Security checks and whooping your ass,
They have more experience.
Yeah. Well, they're out there every day.
Yeah.
I mean, they're out there
Every day. Yep. Sometimes 2 times a day.
I don't see how they do it, but golf is good. Cliff was starting to play some golf. I saw him. We went on this trip. Remember when we went to Atlanta?
Oh yeah, I had fun then.
He nailed. There's 2 things I told him, like when he was starting off and we were hitting the driving range, but then we fell into pickleball. And it was a little bit easier because we were on the same learning curve then. You know, we were both starting
Yeah.
off versus golf. I've been playing for a couple years, and so
Right.
he was trying to catch up. But I was like, there's two things that just make you keep coming back. It's a beautiful, perfect drive, and it's a long putt sink. And 2 holes, we were probably more than 25 feet away. And the first one, you know, it's like, all right, Cliff, get it in. And next thing you know, he hits it, and it probably had 6 or 7 breaks into it. So we're watching the ball go left and right. And then next thing you know, and we're like, oh,
That's what I do, Jimmy. That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah.
and then the very next hole, same thing, 25 foot plus putt. And Cliff came walking in with all that attitude, and we're like, yeah. He nailed it.
And I haven't made one
He
since.
hasn't made one since.
No, but that's the great thing about golf. You're competing against yourself each time you
Yep.
play, right?
It's
so
individual.
You're just looking to improve from the last time you played.
Yeah, when's the last time you played?
When was the last time we played?
Really? That was the
Yeah,
last
it's been a
time?
while.
Yeah. Been trying to get Lana to like fall back into going golfing again because I just like being outdoors. You know, being outdoors, and you know, I just don't see how people cannot want to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you know, golf is one of the hobbies. Hiking, going out running, trail running. Believe it or not, as big as I am, I enjoy trail running.
I would like that.
You know, so I can go look at the plants and enjoy the plants and the landscape, and the scene.
What? So what would be like? Hey, Mike, look at this Delilah over here. Let me tell you
No.
how it communicates with
Listen.
the pine fir over.
First and foremost, I enjoy it, but my pace is horrible, and I'm just trying to breathe, man. I'm not trying to have a conversation while I'm running. So
Yeah.
no, but I like you said, I enjoy being outdoors. You know, I enjoy nature. I enjoy the fresh air. You know, the feel of it, the wind, all of that, the
We kn-
smells.
We were talking the other day, like a lot of the girls in my household, they're like homebodies. You know, they don't go outside very much, and they have these huge vitamin D deficiencies. I never have a vitamin D deficiency.
Me either. I think that's generational.
Yeah.
I did. I was taking some vitamin D pills until we
bet you
started.
were.
Until different vitamin D. Until I started playing pickleball, because I used to run a lot like you, but then I just I got lazy, started going to school, but then I was vitamin D deficient, and then I started playing pickleball. I'm good.
Sorry, I was.
I mean,
He
he's the
set me
one.
up with a softball.
He's the one. It isn't my problem. He's the one that's deficient in the D.
More ways than one.
Well, I think a lot of people are vitamin D deficient. You know, all jokes aside. So
No,
I
yeah,
think a vitamin D supplement is something most everyone should take.
yeah. You take supplements?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah.
Do you? I don't know that about you. What do you take?
Yeah, I take. What do I take? I take multivitamin.
That's good.
I do a what is it? I do a acid reflux thing twice.
Although omeprazole, the GERD,
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yep.
Yep, I do that twice.
that's not really a vitamin. That's a medication. But go ahead.
Oh, and then UOB. Well, I'm telling you, asked what I'm taking. That's it.
No, I mean supplements, not
Yeah, I don't
medication.
take any supplements. I take my vitamin.
Yeah. What about what's your?
So I take
Because we're all about the same age, right? Yeah, we're all like a year
yeah,
apart.
yeah.
Yeah.
so I take vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
I take zinc, and I take magnesium glycinate.
Yeah.
with sleep, and that's it. Those are 3.
My girlfriend does that zinc
Yeah.
and damn vitamin C. When she comes home, is vitamin C. She's a PA, so she's always
Trying to keep that immune system
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
primed. Yeah. I use I wake up, and this is once again going back to Gary Brecka though, but like I'll take a fish oil, and then I'll take Baja Gold salt, a little pinch of Baja Gold.
I do the Celtic salt. now.
That's number 2.
Yep, I do that.
The Baja Gold is great. That gets you all your micronutrients, your micro elements that you need. Being an element person, all them small selenium, all those things that our body is
Right.
deficient in. Boom, get that right out with a whole bottle of water. And then I take a multi through this company called Thorn, which does really good high end. It absorbs really well. The absorption rate for the vitamins really well, and that's the reason. It's a little bit more expensive than like Centrum, but the absorption rate is a lot better into the system. And then I take ashwagandha.
Okay, what is that? That sounds
That's the
like
thing
something
to
from
help
the Black
keep
Panther.
ashwagandha forever. But it's what helps keep your cortisol levels down.
Supposed
So-
to help with testosterone too, I think.
Well, it's anti-stress. It's like some people kind of think of it as the same terms as melatonin, but it's not really to put you. It's to keep your cortisol levels down, which helps with keeping cardiac disease at bay, helping keeping joint pain at bay, and then usually in the morning, if I'm able to cook in the morning, I'll have some eggs with that tallow. So I'm really loading my body up with all these healthy fats that your body needs. And I'm telling you, man, I feel a lot better this year than I did last year just by incorporating some of those small things.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
consume fish?
No, see, that's the problem is I'm very particular on fish.
Okay.
I'm okay with salmon, but I don't want to eat it all the time. I'm really good with halibut, but it's an availability issue here.
Right.
Like you can't find it. Like they'll be like, would you like some, what do they always, Chilean bass is what they always tell me to
Sea
get.
bass,
Yeah. And I'm like, it does not taste the same. Like Chilean sea bass is a lot more fishier taste than halibut. So I'm going up to Alaska to visit Dad this summer, and my plan is to just go ship it down here. Yep.
Yeah.
Put it on the plane with me, and let's go.
I do take, there is a pill before my sexy time. I do take like a little blue pill. Just let y'all know.
I don't think anybody asked.
Well, you are at, I
That's
was
not,
giving you
once
what I was
again,
taking.
that's not a supplement. That's a medication made by Pfizer.
It supplements my inadequacies.
Do you, man?
Thank
Whatever
you, Jim.
works.
Jimmy's always positive.
Yeah, I'm very supportive.
Are you still like pretty lively on the weekends? Are you still going out and doing dinner and getting drinks in the Vista?
No, I haven't gone out in a while. Stay home.
He kind of owes us a night at a karaoke though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we found a new spot.
Did you?
Same
No
guy.
smoking, yeah.
It's a lot nicer. It's not Pollywogs. Somebody was telling me about Pollywogs the other day. I was
Polywog's
like,
okay.
yeah, it's all right.
Probably and it's all right.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a while, but no, I don't really go out. I try to be in bed by 10:30.
Yeah, same.
No later than
I do that,
11:30.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's way late for me.
Yeah, because I'm an early riser, so I'm usually up around 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Damn. What are you doing now?
What do you do up that
I
early?
don't know, clean the house,
Oh,
do
yeah.
a load of laundry, cook breakfast sometimes.
Who?
TikTok. Oh,
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, I just get up early.
you always been that
for my-
way?
I wasn't that way when I was in my 20s and a party animal, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've been that way for probably the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, I'm usually like up about 7:30, 8 o'clock, even on I have an alarm set for 9 o'clock on the weekends, and very rarely does that wake me up.
Oh yeah, my alarm clock's my daughter. No matter what, she's on.
But daddy.
I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, once that goes away, like we used to have, the kids come in and snuggle with you in the morning. Like that's done. Like my last kid doesn't do that anymore. So now it's just, how much money do you need? Hey, daddy, how much do you need? Hey, dad, how much do you need?
Yep.
So
what's next for you, Jimmy? What are your plans?
So I don't know. What
Without telling too much.
I really love the line of work I'm in.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to stay in this field just because it's been my passion for 20 plus years. And it's really, I enjoy the chemistry aspect of it, but I enjoy at this moment in time, I really enjoy the mentorship. Like I love being a mentor. I love bringing in new people, teaching them what I know and preparing them for, the future to replace me. One thing I don't like is I don't like it when people gatekeep information.
Oh yeah.
I want to share as much as I possibly can. And mentorship is important to me. I wouldn't be who I am without the mentorship I received. So I want to give that gift back to other people as well.
sadly in your line of work, that's a lot of people are not like that.
No, it's not that way for a lot of people. And, I'm hoping I can change that.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like always trying to prepare the next ones to take your job. Like,
Yeah.
how can I prepare you
That's what a leader does.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
And you tell people that gatekeep, like I was telling somebody that was a gatekeeper the other day, I was like, the only thing you're doing is making them better at their job. When you teach them, like, that's the only thing you're doing is making them more effective at what they do.
Yep.
When they understand.
Well, I mean, your job, the transfer of knowledge has to happen,
Mm-hmm.
or you have to reduplicate efforts. You know, so it's for us, it's a big thing too. We have people that do the same thing. They think it's securing their job, but it's not. It's just going to make their job harder too. Because you should always delegate and show someone.
What one thing we didn't talk about though, Jimmy, and let's talk about this before we start wrapping things up, is all these great things you do. How does that benefit? What's the back end effect for the public? Like, you know, this is what we can do, and this is how we can serve. This is how we serve the public.
So, you know, my line of work is in public health. So one of the things that we're able to do is identify what people have been exposed to. So, you know, I know we spend a lot of time talking about being exposed to chemical terrorism agents, or maybe even industrial exposure, you know, from exposures from industrial spills. But, you know, we can also do things like biomonitoring work. So we can identify things that people have been exposed to through the environment. Not necessarily from an incident, if you will, you know. So one of the big things that we're moving towards is, you probably hear a lot about PFAS testing, polyfluoroalkyl substances, which, you know, they're finding that the exposure to those things can have long-term effects on people.
Yeah, you see this a lot, like Teflon.
Right.
You know, a lot of people cook with Teflon, but the Teflon is inundated with PFAS.
And also firefighting foams as well. That's another big one. And so what happens is, you know, firefighters fight fires, or, you know, this is especially true around military bases where they're always doing exercises that involve firefighting foams, putting out fires for those exercises. And a lot of that foam gets washed into the water system. So people get exposed to their drinking water. And, you know, biomonitoring is another way to identify what people have been exposed to within their communities.
Is it a cancer causing? I don't know what's the danger of that.
Yeah, I think it can cause all sorts of things long term, cancer being one of them. But I think it can cause developmental delays as well in young children.
Yeah, something's going on, man, because it's like all the kids have something.
1 out of 10 kids have a ism now. Where back in the day it was like 1 out of every 400.
Right. And the interesting thing about PFAS is the claim is that everybody globally has some form of PFAS in them. It's just so pervasive.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's everywhere, man. In your opinion, what's the number one from your realm, number one public health threat?
Oh gosh. Obesity, food.
Yeah.
No offense, Cliff. I love you, but
don't take it personal.
No.
I thought he was gonna say like nuclear war. He's like,
Wow.
Cliff, you're fat.
you and I are victims of our environment.
Thank you, Jim.
I mean, you know, especially here in America, you know, we don't tend to focus on healthy eating.
No, and then it costs a lot to eat healthy. I mean, it costs way more to eat healthy than it does bad.
And then we talk chemicals. You know, that was the theme for today. But if you look at something processed, it's got a whole list of chemicals that you probably shouldn't be consuming in great quantities.
Yeah. Did you know that the UK only has 400 authorized things that you can put into consumable items? 400 chemicals total. We have like 4,000.
Oh, wow.
Things. This is why I was kind of really encouraged about, like, you know, Bobby Kennedy may not have like the traditional background that you want in God, what's his role again?
Director of Health and Human Services.
Yeah. But my God, he's saying all the right things. Like, he talks about the importance of public health. He talks about the importance of, you know, cutting down the bad things that we put in our body, because like, I'm sure like you've got to see, there's got to be, in terms of body composition, difference from you when you go to Thailand. Like, you're probably like, there's nobody over here that's...
Well, interestingly, you know, because of Western influence, there's a lot of younger people that are eating the fast food and the processed foods now too. And you're starting to see obesity uptick there too.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's bad, you know, I mean, people need to start going back, and myself included, to eating natural foods, you know, whole foods, not processed foods.
But you're right. It's expensive. Like, we were during the break, we were talking about, you know, our new sponsor and their beef and all the great benefits they have. I mean, the benefits are just clear, but not everybody might not have the access to get that type of quality of food, you know. So
even fruits and vegetables, I mean, that's expensive.
Yeah.
So and then half the time when I buy fruit, man, it doesn't last very long. I mean, either my daughter just consumes it in a day, or it sits there and molds. I have another question, Jimmy.
Sure.
How many plants do you have in your house?
Oh, well, that depends.
That's important. That's important.
No, that's a good question too. I mean, it depends. Right now we're coming off of winter, so I have more plants in the house that don't winter well outside. I don't have an exact number.
Do you have the air filtering plants?
No, most of the plants I have well, I guess I do. Yeah, I have a few snake plants in the house as permanent house plants, but for the most part, the plants I have, they're for the outdoors.
Okay.
And I put out in the summertime.
How many you got?
Inside, I think I have 2, but I've always heard I want more. Like I think I need like 11 in this house or something like that. There's a number
To help purify the air.
to purify the air. Yeah, it's a true thing. I mean,
The more you know.
yeah. Who knew that, right?
God.
I think that's important. The air we breathe is important also.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I got those HEPA air filters all throughout my house.
I think one of the problems with air is, it's polluted and you don't see it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's out of sight, out of mind, but you don't realize, you're breathing in some pretty harsh things. Sometimes in the morning you might hack it up too,
Yeah.
See it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean,
It's true. And then, a lot of people like to sit around campfires or burn an incense stick in their house. I'm guilty of all of that, but that's not good stuff to breathe in.
that's why I stopped
Candles and
cooking out.
incense are, none of that stuff's good to cook. Yeah.
Just suck up.
And I only know that now because I have birds.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like birds are have you ever watched that movie? What was that? Was it Dunkirk? The one that was continuously shot in one take?
No.
So in one of the scenes, they had a canary in the bunker, and I'm like, why the hell would they have maybe it's the unit's pet, And no, that bird served a function. Their respiratory system is so sensitive that if anything happened, it would happen to the bird first.
Well, that's why they take them down in mines, right?
Right, exactly.
So
To
they
make sure
die.
there's no methane.
Methane, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy because their respiratory system's one way. Did you know that?
No.
Yep, it's a one way respiratory system. Yeah, look that up on Google after
know,
this.
man. That's-
Blow your mind.
Yeah. They have a cloaca too.
I've been to cloaca. I remember. Never mind.
Do all your business with the cloaca.
Yeah.
What is a
So
cloaca?
it's like, for lack of a better term, a bird's butthole, but they also pee out of it.
Oh, they pee and poop out of the same slot.
I think the male bird, the genitals come out of it too whenever they're ready for sexy
I
time.
better not see you with a flashlight by my bird tonight.
If my gut gets any bigger, my male organ will also be hidden and might come out. At some,
I have to ask Julie, how's Cliff's cloaca going?
yeah. Cliff has any. He didn't have any when I met him.
Oh man, what you thinking?
I don't know, man. I think I mean I definitely think we got to have Jimmy on. I would love to have Jimmy on as a co-host
Yeah,
as we interview someone else. I think we haven't got to see Jimmy's real fun side. This guy's he's a funny dude. I love Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy's a good time. Would you be willing to ever come back on and co-host with us?
Absolutely,
All right.
yeah.
I would look forward to that.
Less pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no pressure now,
No,
man.
no
We're just chilling.
It's a little hard to be in the hot seat. We had somebody use our stuff to interview us, and it was a lot different being on that side than this side. I was like, man, I'm a little
It's
nervous
not
all of a
bad.
sudden.
I mean, it's
We try to make it chill.
it's very chill.
Yeah.
Go with the flow.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on today and talking with us. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Everyday Heroes Podcast with Cliff and Mike. Cliff, what we got for everybody?
Oh, don't forget, dial 988 and then press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Hotline.
Until next time.
See ya!